All right, everyone. Hello. Thank you for being here this evening. Hopefully you can all hear me. If anybody could give me a thumbs up to make sure you can hear me, I would appreciate it. Awesome. Fantastic. Well, welcome to our Tollgate beginning band meeting for next school year. We are super excited that you're here and joining us to begin this musical journey with your student. My name is Greg Benson. I'm the band director here at Pickerington North High School, and I'm kind of serving as the MC for tonight's event and information meeting. I also do teach instruments in the 6th grade as well. So before we get started here, I wanted to introduce my colleagues that'll be working with your students alongside me as we begin our musical journey next year in the 6th grade band. And the first is Mr. Chris Carmine. And if he could unmute himself and introduce himself, and I'll let him tell you what he teaches at Tollgate.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Carmine, and I am the percussion instructor at Tollgate. So I teach all the percussion classes, and I'm happy to be here with you tonight and looking forward to having your students involved in our band program next year.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Carmine. And then also I want to introduce my colleague, Mr. Matt Guerreri, and he can speak to you about what he teaches at Tollgate.
Good evening and welcome. Glad you all are here tonight. It's real exciting. It was a lot of fun today to see all your children. It was just the excitement was unreal, I should say. I'm the woodwind teacher at Tollgate. I teach flute and clarinet and help with some of the students switching over to saxophone and or oboe. So thank you so much and excited for our journey.
Wonderful. And there's some additional staff members I want to mention to you. Dr. Mark Perulikar, he serves as our instrumental and all music, instrumental vocal music coordinator for Pickerington Local Schools, but he teaches the beginning brass classes at Tollgate as well. And his wife, Mrs. Tracy Perulikar, teaches the brass classes at Harmon Middle School and one of the Lakeview band directors. In addition, should your student move past Tollgate onto Ridgeview, they have a wonderful band staff. Mr. Nate Stowe is the band director of Pickerington Central and teaches the brass classes at Diley Middle School. And then Mr. Matt Hakes teaches the woodwind classes at Diley and is the Ridgeview band director. And Mr. Tim Gorgas is the percussion instructor at Diley and Ridgeview and Central High School as well. So we have a myriad of staff that is excited about your student joining the 6th grade band next year. So first of all, I wanted to draw your attention, and I'm going to present my screen a number of times throughout our meeting this evening, since we're doing this virtually for the first time. I'm going to present my screen and show you the band website that gives you the information about joining the Pickerington bands. So it is called joinpickbands.com, and it is now showing up on your screen. If anybody can give me a thumbs up that you can see that, that would be fantastic. Wonderful. So as you look at this website here, this is a one-stop shop for all the information you need about joining the 6th grade band. So the number one thing I want to point out to you is recently we have added a tab to this. Although there are tons of tabs at the top that allow you to explore each instrument and what band is all about, there is a parent letter embedded here in the website, and that is the parent letter we would normally distribute to our incoming 6th grade parents at this meeting should be held in person. And that's under the Get My Instrument tab, and it's right here under the parent information letter. Should that link not work for you, it's actually posted as the document as well later on that page. And that's your most updated and accurate piece of literature to describe everything you need to know from today moving forward to get your student enrolled in the Pickerington 6th grade bands. So as you can see, that letter outlines a number of different contacts for the program, how to get your child's instrument, where to do that, what instruments we recommend for your student, and further information. I'm going to go over a lot of that information tonight, but this is your one-stop shop that this is really the place to use as a resource. So without any further ado, before we, as we jump into band, you might be asking yourself, what are the basics of beginning band? What's the why, the who, and the what for beginning band? So for beginning band in Pickerington, the who is 6th grade students who are looking for a new challenge, who want to learn about music and be a part of the largest team in the school. And most importantly, have a lot of fun. Harmon and Tollgate and Diley band classes are for all students regardless of which junior high they will be attending, as all tracks within Pickerington have band programs. The why of beginning band. So the study of music teaches students creativity, it teaches critical thinking, it teaches self-motivation and discipline, and it also teaches students a new mode of describing the world around them. Students also become a part of an exceptional peer group. And as an example, by the time students reach the high school programs in our music programs, we have over 40 Decem Decorii members here just at North High School, which is in the top 10 GPA earners in a class. For those, we have 40 members of that over the years have been part of our band programs. Over 12 PSAT National Merit finalists have come from the band program. 60 all-state performers and 2 all-national honor band performers have come from our band programs at North and Central High Schools. And all of those students started in the 6th grade. In addition, 40% of all National Honor Society students are band members. And over 130 band members are taking honor courses. Over 100 band members are taking AP or College Credit Plus courses. And over 130 band members are taking at least one elective in addition to band. So you can see the opportunities that begin for your student next year in the 6th grade are truly tremendous. And then the what of the beginning band. So students will begin by expanding their musical knowledge they've gained in elementary and middle school through their general music classes. They'll focus on learning how to produce characteristic tone and music reading on their instrument. They take those skills and learn how to make music as individuals and as an ensemble in 6th grade. So they play not only as their own instrument, but with others in their class and the larger band as a whole. So I want to draw your attention here to the Why Band tab on our band website. The Why Band tab on our band website gives you all the reasons that band is a really great thing for your students. And it has some really cool informational videos, kind of testimonials from our current band students as to why they chose to be in band and how they selected their instrument. So as you can see, the top 10 reasons to participate in our band programs. Creativity. It instills creativity in your student. Confidence. Students develop, because they are learning an instrument, a new skill, they develop through that process confidence in performing, and there that translates to other things. They develop problem-solving skills as they learn a new language, music reading. They develop perseverance as they overcome the challenges that do come at some points during learning an instrument. They learn focus, how to direct their energy towards a productive task. They learn nonverbal communication. Music is obviously a nonverbal art form, so they can communicate that way. They learn how to receive constructive feedback. So how they would take a suggestion for improvement and apply it to their growth in any area. They also learn how to collaborate with their peers and their teachers. They learn dedication to an ensemble, and they also learn accountability, all very valuable skills for the future, whether it be in the music classroom or in life. So as we proceed here, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a moment so I can speak directly to you there. Hopefully you can see me now on your screen. So today, your students went through an instrument fitting process in school. And we had the really cool opportunity this year to get every student to try every instrument they wished to try in our in-school fittings. So we had individuals who were music specialists complete these fittings, basically band directors who have been doing this for a long time, who have extensive experience in fitting students for instruments. And they guided your student through the process of trying an instrument, all the way from how to make the sound to physically holding the instrument and trying to change the notes. So there are many factors to consider when we did the fittings today, and we had our experts help us. A number of factors impact a student's choice of instrument. It could be body size, it could be hand size, it could be orthodontia, it could be facial features. Each help a student to be really successful on a certain instrument. And our goal in the fitting, there is an instrument for everyone, and we want to find the best fit for your student. And all the kids did a great job today. They had a ton of fun trying all the instruments. And at the end of the fitting session, a band staff member, either myself or Mr. Carmine or Mr. Guerreri, spoke with them, and you probably saw a small half green sheet come home with your student today. If you didn't, ask your student about it, because that kind of dialogues with you through that document how they did at their fittings today and what instruments they were most successful on and most interested in. And again, the goal is there's an instrument for everyone, but the goal is to place your child on the instrument that best suits them, an instrument they like the sound of, and an instrument they're going to be successful on. Those are the two #1 driving factors for continuation in band, and so we want to identify those for students right off the bat. So we do have 5 groups of instruments we start in the 6th grade. Those instruments are the flute and the clarinet. Those are our woodwind instruments. That's the classification and family of instrument. We also have our brass instruments, the trumpet and the trombone. And then we have our 3rd family of instruments, which is the percussion section. So again, flute, clarinet, trumpet, trombone, and percussion. You probably see those notated on that green sheet that your student brought home to you today. Those were the instruments that they could try today. So all of our classes have target enrollment numbers. And so for students to have great band experience, it's necessary to have balanced instrumentation. And the reason I say this is, if you can imagine with me for a second, if you know what a piccolo is, it's a very short, high-pitched flute, and then there's a snare drum. It would be, I'm not sure I know anyone who would want to go to a concert of 43 piccolos and 75 snare drums. So we have target instrument groups that we try to round out and balance the students that are participating on each instrument so they can have the best experience. Now, as I mentioned, in doing that, we have the 5 instruments we start in the 6th grade: flute, clarinet, trumpet, trombone, and percussion, which includes snare drum and bell kit. And there are additional instruments that are outgrowths of these instruments that if students are interested in, they should start on a particular one of those 5. So if your student is interested in the French horn or euphonium, trumpet is a great instrument to start on. Euphonium is also known as the baritone. Perhaps they mentioned one of these instruments to you after our instrument demonstrations last Friday. If they're interested in the saxophone or specialized instruments, the oboe and bassoon, they should start on either flute or clarinet in the 6th grade. And if they're interested in, again, the baritone or the tuba, which is the largest, lowest sounding instrument in the band, then they should start on trombone in the first part of 6th grade. So that's the progression into those even more varied instruments of the band program through the 5 that we start. So what I want to do is briefly introduce here Mr. Carmine, who's going to talk to you just briefly about how percussion is unique in the band and how it uses multiple instruments, etc. So Mr. Carmine, would you like to speak to that briefly?
I would enjoy that very much, Mr. Benson. Thank you very much. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Again, we really enjoyed seeing students today in school, and hope that students enjoyed exploring all the instruments. We certainly had a lot of fun helping them to explore. The most important thing is that students who are interested in percussion, and also parents of students interested in percussion, understand that percussion is a family of instruments. And that makes it pretty cool and fun, I think, because it is a variety of instruments you get to play, not just one instrument. So I think that's kind of interesting. On the other hand, that means more practice. Being in percussion means you practice 2 main instruments in 6th grade: snare drum or drum pad and bells, which Mr. Benson mentioned, instead of just one like clarinet or trumpet. In 7th grade, we add timpani to expand to 3 main instruments, as well as many other smaller instruments. So percussionists are expected to develop proficiency on a lot of instruments, not just one. So snare drum, mallet, keyboard instruments like bells, xylophone, marimba, vibraphone, that are laid out like a piano, so very similar, but they're struck with mallets. Timpani, which I mentioned, and auxiliary instruments like cymbals, tambourine, triangle, woodblock, and we could be here till midnight listing percussion instruments, but we won't. So it's a big family of instruments. So you may have thought, students and parents, you were interested in simply playing the drums, but it's quite a lot more than that. So we all need to understand that if you're interested in percussion, you kind of have to understand what you are talking about getting into. So it is a family of instruments. That's really cool. And that has some really great benefits, but also some unique challenges to it. And so one of the things we're doing with percussion fittings is we saw many students today in school at Tollgate, and we're working to identify those students with potential in percussion on this first round of school fittings in school, and we're going to ask to meet with students one more time for percussion who we've identified as having that potential. And I'll be contacting you to schedule that soon in the next few days, and there'll be some scheduling options to help with flexibility and availability and things like that. And so, as Mr. Benson talked about, the overall aim, of course, is to select the right fit for your child and their instrument and their musical experience. So the in-school fitting was a great start to that, but we'd like to explore a little bit more by meeting with you for just a little bit longer. I did want to point out too that this also comes with a little bit of a special situation as well, that Mr. Benson mentioned our great colleagues at our sister schools over at Ridgeview and Central. And the percussion instructor over there is Mr. Timothy Gorgas. And he and I really like to see the students for our fittings that we will have as our students at Lakeview and North or Ridgeview and Central. So an important part of this follow-up fitting process will be to meet with me if your student will be attending Lakeview and North, and to meet with Mr. Gorgas if you are attending Ridgeview and Central. So if you're unsure about where you fall in the district attendance boundary maps, there is a map on the district website, and you could also just ask me and I can help you refer to that as well. My email is available in that document that Mr. Benson showed you at the beginning, as well as on the website, should you have any questions. And thank you very much for your attention and attendance tonight, and really looking forward to working with your students more.
Thank you, Mr. Carmine. And so that kind of covers the 5 instruments that we start again in the 6th grade, which is flute, clarinet, trumpet, trombone, and the percussion family. As Mr. Carmine mentioned, and I mentioned some pathways to expand to the varied instruments, that as we expand to those varied instruments, especially as they grow perhaps in size, we actually have those available to students in our school inventory, which is pretty outstanding. So for example, if your student is a percussionist, you do not have to transport a timpani back and forth from school. That is all at the school for them. So I did want to mention, as we get ready to talk about instruments and how to get those for your students, that in the process of fittings, as we've been able and blessed to see every student in the 5th grade at Tollgate, a director is going to be contacting you and confirming your student's instrument with your family by no later than Saturday, May 15th. And that will help us to balance our ensemble and make sure that we have all the right numbers in each section. Now, certainly there's no hard number in each section, but we do try to balance the group so that students can have the best experience. So in addition to what your student showed you were interested in, directors will be reaching out to you and confirming that instrument selection for your student as we move into the process of acquiring instruments. So as we move into that discussion about either purchasing or renting an instrument, students do acquire their own instruments to be in band. And we do that through a number of different ways. So basically, most students choose to rent an instrument, and it is part of a rent-to-own program to allow them to participate in our programs. For those with larger instruments, for example, like trombone, has a larger case, we actually there is no need to transport back and forth, as the student has an instrument they use at home, which is their rental instrument, and an instrument that we have in our buildings that they use, and they simply transport their mouthpiece back and forth. But once again, every student does rent an instrument or acquire an instrument. Perhaps they have one in their family or through another means to participate in the band. So once again, we want to emphasize as we talk about this renting of an instrument or acquiring an instrument that we want you to wait on that process until you hear directly from a director confirming your student's instrument selection and enrollment in that particular instrument class. So as we also talk about this, I'm going to walk you through a process here that shows you a partnership with our music company, Redig Music. We want to caution you against instruments you might find online. A lot of instruments that are found through sites such as Amazon or eBay are often unreliable and sometimes very much of poor quality. The last thing we want to do is get a student to have an instrument in which they will not be successful on. So we want to make sure that we have the right instruments in place for your student and that they are of quality and going to last. And so that's why we point out the recommendations we do in that parent letter that you saw me introduce at the beginning of this meeting, which lists all of what we request on the instrument spectrum. So you can take a look at those details, and if you have a question, you can certainly reach out to a director about what is an acceptable instrument. But we certainly ask that if any point in the process of acquiring an instrument, you find an instrument online for sale, please contact a director and we'd be happy to identify it as if it's a quality deal and a quality instrument that would be suitable for your student for their participation in the 6th grade. Okay? So for those that choose to rent an instrument, which is the lion's share of our students, it is a rent-to-own program. And there's a number of vendors that offer that, but we do partner with Redig Music. And Redig Music is a family-owned music company here locally, and they do a wonderful job providing service for our band programs and our students that are a part of them. So one thing you should know about renting an instrument is that all monies towards a rental apply to the purchase price of an instrument. And if you choose to go that route, if your student should make a change in their instrument in the first month or so, oftentimes in the first month, 2 months, 3 months, students that need to maybe make a switch on the instrument that's identifiable, then that is part of the agreement in the rent-to-own programs where they can make a switch at no extra charge. So as you listen to our presentation here of the rental program, we hope that you'll consider using that vendor. At the same time, should you choose to go elsewhere, we just want to caution you to make sure you check for any hidden fees. Make sure you have all the equipment that's listed in the letter should you go to a third-party vendor, and make sure that, especially important, that your student has the correct mouthpiece, which is outlined in that parent letter, again, on the band website. So, as we move with that, as I mentioned, we do partner with Redig Music, which is a local family-owned music company here in Central Ohio. They've helped with our fittings, and they have a quick and easy ordering process, which I'm going to go over with you. I wanted to briefly introduce and allow him to introduce himself. The representative from Redig Music is here with us tonight that helps our students. His name is Jeremy Ewing, and I want you to be able to put a face with the name here before I go through their process. He does a wonderful job of serving our students. Jeremy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Jeremy Ewing. I do work for Redig Music. I'm very excited about what opportunities you're going to have to learn about being in band, and I'm very excited about the great products that we have to offer to make sure that we're offering the students the best possible opportunity to play well. And just remember, anything that you need is always a quick call away or a quick visit to the website, and everything is delivered to the schools under the director's specifications at no cost to you. Thank you very much.
Sounds great. Thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and present my screen again here as I present some information about our rent-to-own program. Hopefully you see the band website coming up again, the joinpickbands.com on your screen. And once you receive that confirmation from a director about the instrument your student has been selected to play and is wishing to play, you'll go to the Get My Instrument tab. And so once again, we want to wait until that confirmation comes through, but I'm going to walk you through the process today. This describes a little bit of our relationship with Redig Music, and it provides an easy access point to access their website. So once again, this is a quick and easy ordering process. And should you have a need to exchange or return an instrument at any time, you can do that. There's no penalty for stopping early, and there's a minimal deposit to get things going. So I'll walk you through that here right now. So when the time comes to get an instrument for your student, here's the best way to do it. Go to our joinpickbands.com website, click on Get My Instrument. And then you're going to, under the Reading Music tab, click Get My Instrument and click to get started. Show you that now. Once you do that, you should see another website pop up there, and that is the Reading Music Renting Made Easy website. Can you all see that with your screen? If you could give me a thumbs up, that would help me know that you can see it. Wonderful, fantastic. All right, so this entire process is very easy to do, and it's very explanatory as you go through it. So basically what you would do is access this site, and then you would click the word band, because all the instruments we've described, flute, clarinet, trumpet, trombone, and percussion, are band instruments. When you do that, one of the unique things about Reading Music is that they're actually going to bring the instrument to your student's school for their first class. You do none of the legwork to pick up an instrument. It will show up on the first day of class for your student. So you would select your district, and you would go down here and select Pickerington Local. Go right there. Cool. And then you select your school. This is where you have to be sure that you select Tollgate for your student, since your student is a Tollgate student. Once you do that, you move on to the instrument selection. So once you receive that confirmation from a director on the instrument for your student, you would select one of these 5 options. I'm going to select flute, for example, in this demonstration. Once I do that, as you can see, to get started, your one-time payment of $12 includes the instrument for the entire first 3 months. That's a great time to get started in band class and make sure that your student is made the right instrument selection and is going to be successful in band. So once you've done that, you continue down the process here. When we get to the accessories page, it basically lists brief things that would be needed for your student to care for the instrument and to be able to practice at home. One of the most important things about learning an instrument is consistent practice. So we want students to have the access to be able to do that on their instrument at home. So you can see that includes the instrument as well as the accessories, the Accent on Achievement Method book, which is our beginning band book, a care kit for the instrument, and a music stand for your students to play at home. From there, there's a number of options that are described, and you can make a note of these for your individual family and need. The rent-to-own process and how we begin that. The discounts that are available should you choose to move forward and purchase the instrument earlier. Those are all available to you and described on this page. Then you'll move to the payment page, and it talks about our service and maintenance, where basically there's offered free repairs on the instrument because the student, while is taught to take very good care of the instrument, may minorly damage the instrument in the early phase, and they offer free repairs as part of this program through Reading Music. Once you select all that you would need to do to proceed here on your payment method, etc., then you can choose delivery. And what you want to do is choose the school button for delivery, because that will ensure that your student's instrument book and music stand all arrive at the school for your student's first day of class. Then you fill out all the necessary information about yourself and your family and go through the process of submitting this document for then Reading to process and deliver the instrument to the student. So as you can see, that was a very quick process, and if I had filled in everything in, it probably would have taken me about 10 minutes to do. So it's a very accessible process, and that's why we partner with Reading Music to provide quality instruments. Everything they provide is of the best quality and will last your student a long time in the band program as they continue their musical journey. All right, so let me go ahead and stop sharing here. Wonderful. So what I also want to mention is that a lot of students are joining the band next year, maybe from a legacy band family. In other words, they may have a parent, maybe you, who plays an instrument and that they may be playing, and those may exist somewhere in your household. we certainly welcome you to use those instruments as the instrument for your student to learn on in the 6th grade. And we want to help you be able to determine whether that's instruments in working order and what it might need to be successful for your students. So we want to emphasize those instruments need to be in good playing condition should you already have your own instrument. And they must have the correct equipment, which is listed on that parent letter. Again, that's a very important document listed on that Get My Instrument page. And we, as a band staff, are happy to test drive any of those instruments to see if they are in good shape for your students. So if you have a trumpet from many years ago that might be in a case somewhere in your home, we can certainly test drive that and identify if anything needs to happen to it to allow your student to play it in class. And then we do have a limited supply of school-owned instruments for any of those that may need access to an instrument that otherwise we may not be able to get one. So if you have any of those needs or concerns, please simply contact a director, and all that information for contact is found on that parent letter on the Get My Instrument page of the band website. So as we get towards the end of our meeting here, we're about to close, but I wanted to address 2 frequently asked questions about the band as students choose to join in the 6th grade. First of all, I mentioned in the band fitting that oftentimes orthodontia is a considering factor when we place and fit a student on an instrument. But I want to emphasize that it's not an obstacle. Students who have orthodontics, they can certainly play an instrument. There is an instrument for them, excuse me. And all of the directors at some point, I know myself included, have had braces, for example, and played my instrument through that process. So it is absolutely possible, and we're happy to help address that concern if you have it or have it upcoming for your student. The other question is, when does band class meet? So one really unique and awesome thing about Pickerington schools is that band class happens during the school day and as your child's music elective, which is a really cool opportunity that your student gets regular instruction during the school day, and it doesn't have to require any additional out of school class time. So, for example, if your student's involved in athletics, they can be involved in band. If they're involved in clubs after school, they can be involved in band. And that is really, really important because they don't miss any class time, and band is its own class during the day. The only after-school obligations are we have 2 concerts each year. We have a mid-year concert right before the December break, and then we have an end-of-year concert. So very minimal after-school responsibility for the band students. And once again, I want to emphasize the newest piece of things here in Pickerington. In the last 3 and 4 years, band classes have become part of the school day. So that's wonderful for our students. So now, what we need from you to be able to start to work on that confirmation of instruments is hopefully, once again, your students brought home to you that half green sheet this evening, and it indicated what they tried today and how successful they were during the band fitting, and it had an informational page on it. What I want to do is draw your attention once again to the band website. So I'm going to present my screen here one last time. And on the home page of the band website, what we would ask for you to do following this meeting is that we hope that your student is going to choose to join the 6th grade band. And we'd like you to officially register that interest in joining the band through the Sign Me Up link on the home page. When you do that, you go to Sign Me Up, and then it populates a Google form that helps us gather essential information to be able to place your student in the correct band classes. So if you fill out this form and you're still not sure whether band's for you, we still ask you to go ahead and fill it out. This is not obligating you to band, but it is simply helping us plan for band. So following this meeting, if you would please go to our homepage website and click Sign Me Up and fill out this interest form. This will help us to identify your student's first choice for their instrument, as well as all the necessary information we need to get in touch with you to confirm that selection. There's also some videos about each instrument that are located here. Moment there, good. And so you can check out the instruments once again with your students if you want to know exactly what they're signing up to play for. So that's an easy Google form, and again, we ask you to do that at the conclusion of this meeting to click the Sign Me Up tab on our Pickerington Band's Join Pick Bands website to officially register their interest in band. Oh. So in conclusion tonight, we want to say that participation in band music opens many doors for students both academically and socially. And that's why us directors are huge champions of students joining in the 6th grade. I myself, along with Mr. Carmine and Mr. Guerreri, joined band in 6th grade in our respective schools. And now we have developed such a love for making music that we want to share it with others. And we want to emphasize again that your student's really going to embark on a really incredible new journey that will benefit them both in the music classroom and in their academic career and beyond. We truly believe that band is for everyone, and we are so excited your student is interested. So I am happy to drop the link to our website with all the information here in our chat, which I will do now. And here it is. So if you'd like to access that site directly from the link I just provided in our chat, you can do so for all the information you may need. And once again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to a director, and we'd be happy to answer them for you. So we really thank you for being with us tonight. We hope your student is excited about band and the instrument that they have been trying today and chosen. And we look forward to speaking with more of you in the future. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to post them in the chat. Our directors will stay on here for a few minutes and try to monitor those, and we'll go from there. So thank you for being with us this evening. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Go band.